Kia ora, Darin here. Right, I've got two things to talk about today. Seances. I really like this whole concept of there are 15 minutes and then the film will disappear. This was really intriguing. All of these different movies that have got lost somewhere in space and time, and there there seems to be bits and pieces from different movies being told. And yeah, like here's another one. And it doesn't matter where you start or how many times you watch it, they're different. They come up that I can see anyway. So incredible. You see some of the similar faces as actors, and others are, yeah, I've only seen the once, but then I've only seen, my goodness, I've only been through this about 6 or 7 times. So it's just fascinating. All these different old style movies. I love the like the silent era way of putting the words up on the screen so that you've got this. It captures a mood and tells half the story in a way that words wouldn't. And because they're so short, they're only 15, 20 minutes each one, you get more out of the story. So it's a good way of showing that there are more in there. And then there's these weird little bits that go on from other movies that sort of bleed through and in and out of the other story. So it's and they go backwards and forwards. It's really fascinating. Now, the other one that I did was in space. Now, this one just cracked me up. Um, and it was the first time I have seen this, and just mute that. I mean, great actor, and you're the captain of the ship, and you just get taken through all these scenarios, and here's all your crew, and you've got a colonist ship that you're heading off to another place, and you've got this magical warp drive, which no one knows how it works, and and then right at the end, when shit goes down, you get to choose: am I going to fix the life support, or am I going to put out the fire? And so you which one do you do? Um, and yeah, it just keeps going. Oh, and here's part two. Yeah, um, I haven't done part two. What's part two? Anyway, I better stop this. But what I found really fascinating was that it was a very clever use. First time I've seen it, very clever use of YouTube as a storytelling medium, where your next video, you get to choose which direction, so you're branching narrative, but you're getting a whole different storyline. And I've been through it once all the way through, and I started another one and ran out of time. But it was so much fun, really funny. Loved how everything sort of, the characters were loads of fun, especially as some of them got more and more warped as the story went. Um, and this being on this interstellar warp drive, going through a wormhole, and then you're in null space, and it was just fantastic. I couldn't see where the story was going in space. Um, some things were obvious, but others weren't. And I love the alien wug. That was just like just yeah, lots of good humor in there. Um, and yeah, there was one scene where um, your first mate was coming, giving you your pillow. You're waiting for him to bring you your pillow because he's always doing all the work for you, and then he comes up and smothers you, and then you start again. It's just hilarious. Um, Mystery, there was mystery all the way through this because you couldn't work out what was going on to start with. There's something went wrong with the warp drive, and it was like a groundhog day where you always came back and started, but you didn't necessarily start right at the same point. They did for the first couple of times, and then they fast forwarded you, and then you got into it, and you were just able to play through a lot more of the story. So that was good. Loads of action, um, really interesting characters, and the dress was very good. I mean, and there was one point where they just went back into this noir phase. Everyone was wandering around with a whiskey or a cocktail. It was just hilarious. The old Sam Spade stuff. Um, Now, what else? When did I lean in? I leaned into In Space straight away. Great story, had me captivated, um, and yeah, I just had to follow it all the way through until I got to the end. Um, did I look away? No, no, I didn't on that one. I did on Seances. Um, for some reason, a couple of times the images wouldn't come up on my screen, um, so I had to restart the section. Um, and at times, some of the storylines were well out there, well out there, like some guy getting operated on his brain because he was always had this sexual compulsion and all this sort of carry on. And it was like far out. So there were some very strange storylines going through there. Um, and oh yeah, one lady with a spoiler alert sort of woke up on this tropical island wearing next to nothing, and she went and found a guy who had a squid coming out of his mouth. It was like, and then she got accused of murdering him by squid, and it's like, and they had to get judged by a volcano. Just interesting, weird little storylines going all the way through, and some of them you just couldn't work out what was going on. I suspect if you'd watched like a dozen or so of them, you might start to be able to put some of the other things together. But I did look away a few times in that and going, oh my God, where's this one going? Um, so Seances was interesting in that there was wildly different movies, but with often with that silent movie panel to with words and giving you a bit of description, like some Canadian Quebecian guy writing Nazi poetry. It was like, what the frick? Anyway, um, so yeah, love this form medium as a different way of doing things. Um, yeah, full marks for In Space with Markiplier, and the clever use of the YouTube videos for your branching narratives. I've only ever seen that with influencers wanting you to click and go on to their next blooming thing. But hey, so very clever, opened my eyes, really enjoyed it. We'll call it there.